When I was battling Lyme disease, I did not take antibiotics, even though people thought I was absolutely crazy. And even though I had a very life-threatening case of Lyme disease where my heart rate was dropping, I was fainting in public, and it was a serious situation, I still knew that the holistic path was the path for me. I did the research, I looked into antibiotics, and I figured out that they just don't work in most cases. Now, this is very important that you hear most cases, okay? Because there's a very specific type of case where antibiotics are your savior. So what is that case where Lyme disease can be beaten down and you can win the war with Lyme by using antibiotics? That type of case would be an acute case, meaning you just got bit by a tick today or a couple days ago, for example, and you know you got bit by a tick. If this happens, let's say, for example, my child got bitten by a tick. I have 2 kids. Let's say one of them gets bitten by a tick tomorrow. I'm going to the doctor the same day and I'm pressuring them to give me antibiotics for the tick bite so that we can avoid Lyme disease and its co-infections altogether. The Lyme microbes are still in the bloodstream at that point, so it's possible for us to come through with the antibiotics and they'll kill off the Lyme microbes and the co-infections. But for anybody that has had Lyme disease for any amount of time, or they got bitten by a tick years ago, or the Lyme microbes had time inside the body to penetrate deep into tissues and cells, this is where the problems start to arise. They have so many methods of avoiding the immune system and avoiding the attacks from antibiotics that it just doesn't work the same for people who have had Lyme disease for any period of time. Now, in my specific case, I knew I had a disseminated case of Lyme disease that was affecting multiple organ systems because I had a rash that was very all over the place. I had like 4 or 5 different spots on me. And also, I only remember getting bitten by a tick when I was like a child. I think I was 8 years old, but I'm not even 100% sure how old I was because it was very uneventful. We didn't do anything about it. My mother ripped the tick off of me and we moved on with our day and went about our business like it never happened. But I've got symptoms like 20 years later, and that's when my life was at a complete spiral, downhill path. I was at the worst rock bottom place in my life. My marriage was careening towards a divorce. My house had been taken away. I had foreclosed on my house. I lost my job. I had a very terrible relationship. I had to move everyone back in with my parents. It was a very, very dark, hard time in my life that Lyme disease just kind of came back on top of all of that and said, surprise, you have Lyme disease too on top of it. And it absolutely destroyed me. I started fainting, I had the heart problems, I had vertigo, I knew something was wrong, something was weird, my body wasn't working correctly, and I was also sleeping like 16 hours a day. I had the random flu that came up out of nowhere. For about 2 days, I just was freezing cold even though it was in the middle of the summer, and I was vomiting. So I had that weird flu-like symptoms that people get usually right after a tick bite, but for some reason, this had been 20 years after my most recent tick bite. So something was really weird about that, and it's not uncommon. I hear these stories from so many people. I talk to thousands of Lyme disease patients. I've created this channel. I've created a free ebook that you can download if you want, but all of the people that have downloaded that free ebook are on my email list. They talk to me, they send me emails, they talk to me on a regular basis and tell me their story. I read every single email that comes through, even if I don't have time to answer it, or if I don't take the time to answer it right in the moment, I still read every single email. And more often than not, the story goes like this. I got bitten by a tick 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. I have symptoms today and I don't know why. Or I had Lyme disease 20 years ago and it came back today and I don't know why. It relapsed. This is a very common situation, and it goes to show that the antibiotics don't actually clear the whole thing out of your system, because the Lyme microbes really know how to hide. They create biofilms. They dig deep into the tissues and into the cells. They know how to insist into a small ball to avoid any antibiotic attacks or attacks from the immune system. They know how to cloak themselves in proteins made by your immune system so that they look kind of like your immune system, and then your immune system doesn't know where they are. And a lot of the symptoms that we're experiencing are actually our immune system overreacting and trying to find what's wrong with our body and not being able to find it. So our immune system's attacking our own body and it's harming us. It's like an autoimmune issue, an inflammatory response from the cytokine cascade that results from the body trying to fight back against something that it cannot see, find, smell, or hear. It's just looking around and having no luck at all. And this causes the symptoms that we experience with Lyme disease. So antibiotics are an amazing invention. They've saved us from countless numbers of deaths from infection. But in the case of Lyme disease, it's just a little bit different. The microbes are lower in number, lower in virulence, and they don't have the same impact with antibiotics. But if you just got bit today, taking antibiotics can be the best thing that you do, because they're not settled yet. They're not in the body. They're not drilled into your cells. They're not encysted. They haven't created biofilms. They're just going through the bloodstream still, which is when the antibiotics can work wonders. They can work really, really well. So there is a time to take antibiotics, but for me, I had missed that time period by about 20 years. So it didn't make any sense for me to take antibiotics, and so I didn't. Instead, I used herbs, nutrition, sleep, hydration, stress reduction. I used holistic methods to change my life and actually change the way that I show up in the world. And that's when I was able to get better. And if you need herbs for your journey, because you're going through something very similar and you don't want to take antibiotics and you don't know where to go, and you also don't want to spend hours on Amazon trying to find the different herbs that you need, or going to a health store where there's dozens of herbs, thousands of herbs everywhere. There's all different kinds of medicines you can take. There's all different kinds of natural, amazing things. But there's just so much, and it takes so long to wade through everything and figure out what you actually need. And then they're upselling you on all these other different things that you may or may not need. If you don't want to go through that whole process, that annoying long process that you have to go through over and over again, because you need to continue to take the right herbs over a long period of time, then what I suggest you do is go to LymeDiseaseWars.com, where we have a box of herbs that we'll send to your doorstep every single month. And it's got the 3 top herbs that so many people have used to heal from Lyme disease, including myself. See, I went from fainting in public, for sleeping 16 hours a day, having a disseminated EM rash on my body, and having a heart rate that was dropping to 30 beats per minute, to being absolutely healthy as can be. I mean, I'm talking, I go for runs 4 or 5 days a week. I run 10Ks. I run a 10K almost every day with my dog. I lift heavy weights almost every day. I feel 120% most of the time. I have energy, I have passion, I'm available, I'm free to do whatever I can think of with my body. I play sports, I play volleyball, soccer. I do these things because I don't want to take my health for granted. I know what it's like to feel like your health is being ripped away from you. I know what it feels like to feel like you're just a shell of yourself. And I know what it feels like when you want to feel like yourself again. And now that I've gotten my body back, I'm not taking it for granted. I do things with my body every single day to make sure that I'm making the most out of this life now that I have the second opportunity to do so. And I want the same for you. So go to LymeWars.com if you're interested to check out the herbs that could absolutely change your fight, change your battle, put the cards on your side for once. Give yourself the advantage in the fight against Lyme disease by going to LymeWars.com and getting the herbs that have worked for so many of us. Just yesterday, I got a review from a guy that said, my joints don't hurt anymore. I've only been taking these herbs for 2 weeks and I feel amazing, right? It's so good to read those things. I have another client who has her kid, her 9-year-old child, and I have a 10-year-old daughter, so I know how it is. She bought the herbs for her child, and now they're going to see, hopefully, it will get better over time. We have people who are seeing amazing results in just 5 days taking these herbs. We have so many people who are just getting them shipped to their house monthly so they can take their herbs every morning and feel like themselves, so that they can take back their body, so they can avoid relapses, they can avoid the Lyme microbes taking over their life, and instead they can take back their body and feel like themselves again. So if you want that too, I know how you feel. I've been there before. I have felt like if somebody just made this easier, it would be so much better. And so here I am doing my best to make it easier for you and all of the Lyme victims that are out there, all you Lyme warriors that need help. That's what I'm here for. I take full responsibility for the Lyme disease community, for the people who are suffering every day. And all I want to do is fix every problem that we face. And we face these problems together now. So get your herbs. If you're interested, get the free ebook that I have if you're interested in that, because it'll give you the 6 top methods that we use to heal from Lyme disease. And it will also put you on my email list where I send a daily email out every single day about different tips and tricks, mindsets, ways to think about Lyme disease, things to do that will help you beat Lyme disease. It's free. And once you're on that list, you'll get all the latest and greatest that I have to offer. I give everything to my list for free every single day, and I want you to be a part of that. So go grab that as well. I'll put the link in the description below this video. Just go down below this video, click on the description, and you'll see the link to go get that free ebook. But anyway, I hope this video helps you out, gets you thinking, and gets you on the right path to healing from Lyme disease. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.